Day 7, a full week of doing the carnivore diet. So we'll do a summary here in a second, but I want to tell you a story, okay? We're going to tell you a story. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show, Futurama. There's an episode, if you don't know, it's a cartoon. It's made by the creators of The Simpsons. It's Earth in year 3000, something like that, and there's robots and animated dead and and aliens and everything else. So it's kind of a weird show, but it's a cool show. I like it. But there's an episode where Bender and Fry, who are the misfits of the group, I want to say the story premise is they get a tour of their favorite drink. They're addicted to this drink called Slurm, okay? And circumstances, it's been like a few years since I've watched the show, but circumstances arise where they find what the true source of Slurm is. And they're literally addicted to this stuff, so they want to see where it comes from. Well, they find out, and it's actually an big alien creature that's pooping somewhere out of its body into the cans that they're drinking out of. And then they can it and they put it on the shelf and the truck takes it away or whatever. And there's a scene where Bender and Fry are like, "Oh my gosh, that's gross, Slurp. Oh man, I can't believe that. That's so disgusting." And they keep drinking it though, knowing what it is. That's how addictive the substance is. Now, that could be the artist's rendition of what, soda is or whatever, but in the real world, it's almost like that with our food, right? It's just like cigarettes. How many people are actually out there smoking cigarettes and they don't know it kills you, right? They don't know that it's bad for you, right? They absolutely know nobody that's died of lung cancer or whatever, but they still do it. There's an addictive aspect. It's been proven. The government has literally came out and forced the cigarette makers to say, yes, we put addictive substances in these cigarettes. But food, so it's kind of cut and dry, but food is not so cut and dry. And there's a great book called Salt, Sugar, Fat that talks about the history and the processes of the food industry, the snack industry, and how there's a combination of taste and smells and chemicals that are designed to make you want to eat. They're designed to make the food addictive. But yet, there's a bunch of subsidies, for the corn, and like the government wants you to grow certain foods, and then the natural plant foods that we have are basically distorted cousins. The same strawberries that you have now are not the same strawberries of 30, 40 years ago. Back at a time when you didn't have this huge trucking industry, you pretty much were limited to what the locals had. If it was watermelon season in the South, it was a lot harder to get Walmart or watermelon up in Minnesota, And even apples and orange juice and oranges, and they're meant to have longer shelf life. They're meant to have higher sugar content. They're GMO. And the reason why I bring up this story is because I can't tell you how many times, myself included, I'm not exempt from this list, how many times we as human beings do something knowing it's bad for our health, knowing that there's going to be consequences, knowing that we're going to regret this later, you know, and that it kind of reminded me of that episode of Futurama, because they knew what it was, they knew where it was coming from, but they still couldn't help themselves from keeping from drinking it. And that's kind of what our food source is now. I can't tell you how many times I've been, well, you know, I'll do a little cheat here. I'll you know, this slice of bread ain't gonna hurt. You know, I'll eat the burger with the bun this time. You know, and I've even had, you know, well, I'll sneak a bite of this cake, or it's, you know, it's so and so's birthday, so we'll have one piece of cake. It ain't gonna hurt me. And I think part of that is because when I first started on the keto journey, it was very defined. I mean, sugar feeds cancer. Boom, that was in my head. Don't want it. You know, and I quit it cold turkey. And it was hard because sugar is an addictive substance. Corn fructose syrup is even more addictive. And all the chemicals, you know, dextrose and all the stroses, you know, those are meant for addiction, just like nicotine. You know, and I have in my history a lot of people that I know that have dealt with addictions, whether it be meth, heroin, alcohol, and 99% of these people know that they're doing harm. That's addiction. That's addiction. And so when it comes to the food, it's a little bit harder to define that, because, you know, we have to eat. You have to eat something. How many times the doctor says you got to eat something or else you're going to die. You know, we have to eat 6 times a day or else it'll kill your metabolism. Oh, well, you know, 90% of the stores in the country are convenience stores. Oh, look what they got in convenience stores. Frito-Lay, Coke, Pepsi, Little Debbie. Oh, here's some beef jerky as a healthy alternative, full of a different set of concoction, deep, you know, chemicals. The food is addictive. That's what makes food addictive. How many times have you guys gone to a buffet and you just couldn't eat another bite, but then you're looking at that dessert bar, you're like, I could probably eat a piece of cake. So we are literally destroying ourselves knowing that this stuff is bad. Now the blatant stuff like you know, Twinkies and Hostess and, you know, and donuts and stuff like that, you know, it's obvious that, you know, we all know that we probably shouldn't eat a whole bunch of that. But then you have a lot of confusing information, like, oh, you want to shock the body with carbs. You know, you want to have if you're keto, you want to have a day that you shock the system, stress the system out. You know, or, you know, a slice of bread is nowhere near the same damage as, you know, a Krispy Kreme donut, you know, that kind of thing. But the reality is, it is. Because how do you make someone addicted to something? By little tiny increments every day. Consistency, right? And so one cheat becomes 2 cheats. 2 cheats become 3 cheats. Next thing you know, you've fallen off the wagon. I heard that a lot in my live feed this morning. And I literally watched someone do a YouTube video who's having to get out of the truck, who attempted to do the keto thing. I was able to influence a lot of good people when I lost my first 100 pounds, and everybody was on board. There was going to be tattoos, you know, made because of, you know, if I hit a certain weight and all this stuff, right? There was a weight challenge, a Snorelord weight challenge, right? And, you know, And I know so many people who have tried to quit smoking, who've tried to quit drinking, and they just can't do it. And I'm not here to beat you up, because I get it, okay? I get it. And the food just makes it so much harder, because we've been told all these things since we were kids. I don't care if you're in your 20s or in your 60s. You were told that food had to be a certain way. And you know, and come to find out, a lot of these studies were done by food companies that had an agenda. But we're all addicts out here in one form or another, whether it be ego, whether it be money, whether it be food, whether it be alcohol, whether it be cigarettes, whether it be heroin. You know, I'm literally watching my own town destroyed because of heroin and fentanyl. But there's a lower level addiction that's affecting our country. You know, how many people are in the shape to take care of themselves if there's a catastrophe? How many people are in shape to fight off a tyranny government or an invasion from an enemy? So you have to look at the sources. What are the sources of our addictions? Who's bringing the food in? Who's bringing the drugs in? Who's bringing the fentanyl in? And so, and the military has literally said that America's health is a legitimate security risk for the country. We go inside these convenience stores. We're stressed out. We're stressed either over money, or we're stressed about our business, or we're stressed because things aren't going well at home. And we're stressed, you know, and so we're tired, you know, so we go inside and everything's brilliantly colored and smells so good and creates these cravings that weren't there 5 minutes ago. And unless you're unless you're really sick, like you have the flu or you've got, you know, stomach issues or whatever, you're always tempted to grab something out of the convenience store. These truck stops aren't truck stops anymore. They're convenience stores. Even the restaurants are chain restaurants, and they all cook with the same oils. They all get their food from the same distributors. And the food is meant to be addictive. And so I get it. I've struggled with my weight ever since high school, around my senior year, when I started to eat outside of the house. My dad cooked good meals, very well balanced meals. Now lunch was a different story. It was up to us on lunch, and you know, lunch usually consisted of a glass of Kool-Aid and a bowl of ramen, which I think I would just throw up if I had to eat that right now. My pancreas would just be like, dude, what are you doing, you know? But when I started to eat out every lunch, and I had money because I had worked all summer and had money saved up to buy the Twinkies and the donuts, and I stopped riding my bike, you know, all that stuff. That was when the pounds started to come on, and gradually, and then when I became a driver and dealt with all these different kind of stresses, and something changed in the food as well. Even the Twinkies of 20 years ago are not the same as the ones that you have now, right? And I challenge you just to read some of the labels on some of these products. And just realize that if it's a chemical name that you can't pronounce, you probably don't want it. They're literally poisoning the well. I've mentioned this so many times on my live feed, and you know, and here's the thing. Being a truck driver, this is a carnivore challenge as a truck driver. I watched somebody do a video who's having to get out of the truck because of health issues. And they tried to do the right thing. They tried to quit the cigarettes. They tried to quit the carnivore. I mean, they tried to quit the carbs. They tried to do the keto thing. And it's so easy after a year or 2 years to get complacent. You know, all of my keto friends, we've talked about, you know, gaining that 10 pounds back, having the little cheats. And it's become a point of anger for me, for myself. In other words, there seems to be a bigger game at play. You know, if you have an outside country that influences our drugs, both legal and illegal, and influence our food, you know, I mean, how many of these farmers were freaking out when they were saying that they were going to start shipping meat from China? And you can't even go into a restaurant and get, you know, clean oils and non-addictive substances. I mean, we've got buffets were a thing of rarity when I was a kid. Now it's like a sit-down restaurant that's not a buffet is more rare. And we just eat and eat and eat and eat, and we're throwing our bodies out of whack and creating an addiction. You don't believe me? Look around. You don't believe me? Look at people that have lost weight and gained it back, myself included. Again, I'm including myself in this crowd. I'm not like mightier than all. And then I noticed another post from somebody else on YouTube that also tried the keto thing and did well with it. But then there's 2 other YouTubers that I know, like 3 or 4 YouTubers that tried the keto thing. It worked well for them, and then they got off of it. And I'm not saying keto or carnivore is the only way, but when I can change my diet and lose over 100 pounds without lifting a weight, without taking one walk, that the evidence is just, it's flat out, it's the food, it's the diet. And, you know, and we're all in the convenience store knowing that this stuff's bad for us, but we'll shovel it down anyways. Everybody has to have their aha moment. Sometimes you have to have multiple aha moments. Sometimes just doing enough isn't enough. Sometimes you gotta go extreme, but then it's gotta be sustainable. You gotta have consistency. And that's kind of that's my thoughts for today. This is going to be a longer video because now we're going to talk about this is the first full week. But look, you can email me in the link in the description. And I'm not a health coach. I'm not an expert. All I'm going to do is pretty much maybe help motivate you and point you in the channels that influenced me. And I don't care if you want to do carnivore, keto, even vegan. I don't care. But these processed foods are killing us, and they're taking truck drivers out of the game. And the last thing I want to do is die back there of a heart attack or of, you know, by myself in that back of that sleeper there, simply because I couldn't stop eating what I knew what was poison. You know, and you can have this whole, well, you gotta die sometime, so you might as well die happy. No. After you get sick, you lose your way to be able to make money. You drain you and your family's savings, everything that you worked so hard for in your life. And the last year of your life will be miserable with cancer treatments and illnesses and catheter bags and dialysis and medication that costs more than your income. If you can even find it, if China decides, you know what, we're not shipping any more medicine. There's a war on our country And if you poison the well, I mean, isn't that a strategy like in old war times, is to if there's an army or village downriver and you poison the river so it gets them sick? Isn't that kind of a tactic to take over a village? Our river is poison, guys and gals. The food in this convenience store is addictive and horrible for you. And I found a way of eating that allows me to feel better, actually save money. It takes a little bit of effort. And it helps me minimize the damage that these big corporations are doing to us that are of national security issues. That's it. That's how I look at it. So that's my new rejuvenation, is that this is a matter of there's an all-out internal war on this country. We're more divided than we've ever been. You had this pandemic that, well, we won't get into that. We're divided. We can't, we're fighting each other for toilet paper and gasoline. No one knows how to get along anymore. We have never been more divided, and we've never been more unhealthy than we've ever had in this point in time in history, ever. But yet we just keep eating and drinking the wrong stuff. Anyways, I'm on day 7. For breakfast, I had the liver, which I kind of regret. I like liver, but to eat it for 3 days straight probably wasn't good, because liver is kind of like intense, right? And it's not like that's all I ate, right? But 3 meals in a row was a bit much, so I'm gonna have to find a different way to do that. I'll probably just keep doing the liverwurst, because I can just take a spoonful here and there, and that's it, And then I think I had a couple of eggs. I did buy some hot dogs at the convenience store. See, there's addictive qualities in those. So I didn't feel as good after I ate those. I was a little bit hungry. I had a roast that I had put in the Hot Logic Mini. It was about yay big, just big enough for the pan, right? And I put it in at 8:30, and I think I pulled it at 6 o'clock. And it was too long, so it was kind of tough. It was tough and leathery, but I cut half of it up. I ate half, and I cut the other half up. It's in a bag. I saved all the broth, and that'll probably be lunch tomorrow. And then I'll start some hamburger. I think I'm just gonna start simplifying even more, to have a roast here and a roast there and all these recipes and stuff. It's just, you want to do something and make it easy on yourself. You want variety, don't get me wrong. You're gonna get bored. If you're doing the carnivore thing, you might get bored. And temptation is always there when you're bored. But anyways, right now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty motivated. I feel like I've lost weight. I could weigh myself on one of those truck stop scales, but you're pretty much wasting a quarter to get a general idea. So I'll just wait till I get home, which won't be for probably another week. Memorial Day is coming up, so that'll present some challenges, and we're gonna go over that. How did I handle Memorial Day? Well, Memorial Day is a cookout day, so there's that. But you've got the potato salads, and you got the cookies, and you got the cake, and you got the beer, and you got all that stuff. And I believe I'm not even going to touch beer for these 40 days, just to see the difference that it makes. If you're fighting addiction, I feel for you. I really do. You have to help yourself first, Because if you don't, you're going to miss graduations, you're going to miss weddings, you're going to lose your CDL, you're going to lose your capacity to work, you're going to lose your capacity to enjoy everyday life. All for what? Food? Anyways, leave in the comments what you struggle with. Leave in the comments questions, comments or concerns that you might have, either for yourself or for me, because I know a few people are concerned about me for this way of being. And we'll do a video where I address these questions live, maybe. Who knows? Look, man, I just want what's best for everybody. I've seen several friends fight and die over addictions. I've seen several friends lose their careers over addictions. It doesn't have to be that way. You're like, well, Steve, it's not that easy. I know it's not that easy. I know it's not that easy. Do I have an answer? Maybe. We'll find out. Peace.